Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody watching wherever you are in the world. Welcome to our episode number 3 of our weekly series, What's Your Spark? Today I'm here with Liz Bull from North Carolina. To everyone watching, please hit like and share your comments during the show. Ask your questions in the comment sections, put your comments in, and I'll absolutely make sure that we both follow up on comments and questions after the show. Okay, it's a little hard to do that during the show because the comments sometimes come up with a delay, but we promise to do it after. Even though I work with women in financial services for the most part, this series is on a wider topic because I believe it's always great and fabulous to open up our horizon and bring in fresh perspectives from other women and other people. And I have found that also the women in financial services benefit from my fresh and different perspective. And in this way, we also open up our possibilities and new opportunities for ourselves. And that's also why I'm doing these interviews with women around the world from different areas, different industries, and we'll bring in some women in finance soon as well. And we're mixing it up a little bit so that you can get all these different types of inspiration because there's so many gifts in these women's paths and purposes. Okay, so we are here today with Liz Bull, and it's an absolute pleasure to welcome her here. Liz is a very dear friend. She is also an executive coach, a life mastery consultant, a medical intuitive, and an author. And there's much more information and details on Liz Bull on her LinkedIn profile. Check it out when you get a chance, but don't do it right now. Do it after our show, because for right now, you will want to listen to Liz. Isn't that great? Listen to Liz. And as always, Liz, welcome, first of all.
Regina, thank you so much for having me. You know, as you mentioned, we are really good friends and have been for a number of years now. My goodness, it's amazing when I think about it. So thank you for having me on your show. I think this is a wonderful opportunity, and I love the idea of broadening horizons. I'm like you. I'm a lifelong learner. I'm always interested in what's new, what's different, how do things relate to each other in ways that we may not have thought of previously. You know, new information is always coming to the fore, and that always interests me.
Yeah, I love that you're saying that, because I always say, you know, whatever your chapter is in your life, it's always a build up to the next chapter. It's always somehow, even though it might not seem related at first, even also when people look at my LinkedIn profile, they say, oh, what does an owner of a bed and breakfast in Argentina have to do with, you know, being a coach? They can make that connection more easily with the Boston Consulting Group experience, of course, but the other parts, you know, but they have so much to do with it. It has given me all these different insights and all these different learnings, you know, on how to deal with challenging situations and all of that, right? So, okay, let's go ahead. As always, my first big question is, Liz, what's your spark? What's your calling? And how is this related to your unique genius, or as I call it in my work, your distinctive uniqueness? And how is it also related to what you're passionate about? So tell us all about it.
Oh, my goodness. Well, it's so interesting that you started off talking about financial services, because at one point in my life, I worked for a very, very large bank.
That's right.
I did. I was the manager of training and development, and it was an interesting journey. It was not exactly for me, and as I determined as I was going along with that, not that I was terrible at it or anything like that, but it really, I think it was one of those pivotal things in life that actually is very, very related to the work I do now, because there are so many people that I help right now with my healing work and with my life mastery consulting work and coaching, people who feel like they've got all of the trappings of success. Everything looks great on paper. They've got the fabulous salary, they've got good benefits. It looks like their family's good, maybe like I did. I mean, I had a lovely home in Montreal. I also had a country house, on a lake in the Laurentians. And I mean, life looked really good, but I felt like I was checking my soul at the door. I just felt empty, And I mean, every day I was like, is this all there is? That was kind of like the question, is this all there is? And it took me years. I mean, I started my personal development and growth started back then. I'm a big fan of personal development programs, and they take you just so far, which is where my work comes in, because I dive very, very deep to help people really discover their soul purpose, why they're here, so that they can stop checking their soul at the door. Particularly I work with men who are working really, I mean, it's not only men who are doing this, because Lord knows, women work really, really hard, when it comes I mean, my Irish grandmother used to have this great saying. She said, well, dearest, a man can work from sun to sun, but a woman's work is never done. I was like, no truer words, right? No truer words. Nevertheless, guys work, many, many men work really, really hard and feel on the inside like they're still failures, like they're not doing enough, and so it's no wonder that so many of them, burn out, have heart attacks, develop physical ailments in midlife. No wonder at all that that's what occurs for them. So, and I will tell you that my own personal experience with my own dad. My dad he worked a job, and then he had a business as well. He was an entrepreneur as well. And so growing up, I never saw my dad. My dad. My brother and I used to have this saying, this comes from the Lone Ranger, we would say, who was that masked man?
Yeah.
And that's true. I mean, one of my guy clients said he feels like, he has to put his kid on his agenda.
Right.
He
Isn't that crazy?
He schedule his kid, and he hates that. He feels horrible about it. So that's what I make possible, for many of my clients, not just men, but women as well, is to be able to really get in touch with, what is their soul calling? What would they love? What would they love in their life? Because so many people don't think that they're even allowed to even ask that question. It's not even on the table. It's not even on the table. It's like, you're going to do what we think you should do, kid, and so many people end up feeling like they're living somebody else's version of success, not theirs. It's
absolutely.
Like the dots don't connect. So they're working, and everybody's saying, oh, what a great job, blah, blah, blah. And they're not feeling it inside. That's where the great void is. So that's my spark, is changing that in the world, just changing that. And then, as you know, Regina, I have, kind of a subsection of that with my diet-free weight loss program. And that mission, that little mission there, mission spark, whatever you want to call it, is, I am just determined that because of my work, no woman goes to her grave still ashamed of her body the way my mother did. Because as you know, my mother died from the effects of morbid obesity. So that's another big, waving the
That's
banner.
a piece of the puzzle. Yeah, exactly. For those who need and want that. Yeah, awesome. Well, that sounds fantastic. And of course, I knew most of this, but it's always fascinating to listen to your way of putting it. So I really enjoyed how you explained it. And, my dad also had basically two jobs. Well, I grew up on a farm, but he had a farm and my mom, of course, as well. So both of them. And then he had another job, right? So gladly, because the farm was at home, I did get to see more of him, right? But still, it was a very strenuous life for sure. And yeah, and also I find I work mostly with women, not only but also mostly, and in finance. And what I find is that most of them really want more recognition. And also sometimes, and that speaks to what you just shared, Liz, sorry, a little dry throat this morning. So that speaks to what you just said, is I help them also open up new possibilities for themselves, that they would probably otherwise not necessarily see. So yeah, so let's move on to how did
just
you
pick up a little bit on that,
Yeah, sure.
That's one of the things that I also do. In fact, I just got off the phone with a client, brilliant woman. And this whole thing around women and recognition, women are just so conditioned to not shine.
Absolutely.
Or literally, and this plays into the weight too, because here's the thing. My mother was brilliant. My mother was really a super smart woman. But again, it's like, don't be too big, don't show your brilliance. Somebody might feel bad. And we tend to deflect, even when we get recognition, we tend to deflect it. We go, oh, you're just being nice. We'll say stuff like, oh, that's so kind of you to say, rather than just saying, thank you. Thank you.
Accept the compliment.
Exactly, because we're conditioning people to not recognize us, really, because we're pushing it away. We're pushing it away. So if there's one takeaway that women can have, or anybody, because men aren't immune. Let's face it, men aren't immune, right? But if there's one takeaway that you can get from this today, is that when somebody compliments you, smile and say thank you. Smile and say thank you. And that condition. I
certainly learned that, Liz. I have to say that I certainly learned that, and it's really, really important. I love that you're saying this, because we all of us. And what you're saying about women is absolutely true. But all of us, we are educated out of our distinctive uniqueness, out of our brilliance, out of uncovering that that one thing that is special about us. Yes, although there are many things that are special about us, but that one really important genius item, right, as I call it sometimes. Yeah. And because the school system is not made for that. It's made to prepare us for a specific predefined system, and we are meant to fit into a box. But we are never meant to fit into a box, actually, but the school system wants us to fit into a box, right? So that's exactly the point. So we're not told or taught to uncover what our unique brilliance even is. And that's why we constantly compare each other, and we feel threatened by others' greatness instead of uncovering our own greatness and really show it and shine our light out to the world. And that's why we are here today, to talk about this with you. So let's move on to the next question. How did you find your spark, Liz?
I'm a smart aleck, right? So I say dumb luck. Really just dumb luck. That's all there is to it. I had, like I said, I had this, interesting career at the bank. And then for 30 years, I was an architectural lighting designer. I specialized in skyscrapers, and I loved it. I worked all over the world. It was a wonderful time. And then, once again, I was feeling like, is this all there is? There must be something more, right? And like I said, I've always been a personal development, I won't say junkie exactly, but I've been interested. And so once again, there was that point in my life where I'm like, I wonder what else is there. And there'd been some interesting events, which made me kind of stop and think, there's something about me that's not being properly exploited here. And a friend of mine invited me to go to a demonstration of Theta healing. And so we went, the two of us went that night to this thing. And the gal who was leading it, took us through a process. And when we got in the car afterwards, I said to my friend, I said, I'm not entirely sure what happened in there, but I know I am not the same person who walked in the door. And so I was just hooked. I just said, I like this. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure what I'm dealing with here, but I love it. And so I went and became a master Theta healer. And because I have this engineering background, I come from a family of construction, who did building and construction. I know that one tool is not going to do it for everything. It's just not.
Yeah.
You can use your high heels as a hammer, but it's not a good idea. You need some other things. So I just got intrigued. One thing led to another. And so that's how I ended up with this entire, workshop, shall we say, of tools that I use in my healing. So it was just one thing. It's just my natural curiosity. I am just insatiably curious about everything. And so when something intrigues me, I go learn it, and I'm such a geek, I master it. and then I mix and match as I'm guided. That's all there is to it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I also am very similar in that sense to you. So I often say in podcasts that my insatiable curiosity, just like you just said it, actually pushed me out into the world because I was the shyest girl on the block, right? That's what actually really pushed me there. And I also, like you, studied Theta healing at some point and some other modalities like body tech and all these other things. And it came through the same vein, really. And I'm using a lot of this indirectly in my coaching as well, although, it's not healing. It's in that sense that, this is a healing program. No, but a lot of that wisdom and knowledge that I gain through these courses and through these studies really flow into the coaching work, especially what's related to all the content that's related to energy, and as I call it, body and energy conscious business presence in my coaching framework, Powerful Leadership Transformation, right? It's a part of that. It's one of the pillars. And then also as far as mindset and heartset is concerned, which is an important part of my work as well. So we have a lot of parallels here. We just do it in different ways and work in different ways. And this is the wonderful thing about distinctive uniqueness, because we're all unique and we all express this uniqueness in our own way. We express our personal strengths and talents and our acquired skills, and we form this, we shape this package, this unique package that makes us us, and then we turn it into our spark and into our purpose. So I love it. Okay, so how are you now making an impact through your work and through your spark? You explained a lot of it already, but if you had to put it in one sentence.
That's a tough one, Regina.
I know, I put you on the spot here a little bit. Let's make it fun for our audience, right?
I know. I was like, let's put Liz on the spot. Let's see what she can come up with in one sentence.
I know I can do this with you. You got this.
So I would say that making it, I get to the root. Mm-hmm. I think that's the difference with what I do compared to what a lot of other people who are, coaches do. They operate on a very superficial level. It's strictly behavior based. And then, they'll, I know this is going over more than one sentence, but
It is. I get exactly what you're saying though. And I think people do get it.
Yeah, mm-hmm. It's very superficial and totally behavior based. And then, they'll just kind of go round and round and round and think, well, it's just mindset. That's why they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And, because I'm intuitive and psychic and clairvoyant, okay, I've confessed it all now. It's like
that's the second part of the sentence.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got 1 minute.
Yeah, I have this unique ability to get to the heart of the matter, to get to the real root of the matter, which very often is generational stuff. It's genetic stuff. I do a lot of stuff with epigenetic work. Because sometimes what's stopping you now is something that you know has been carried through for generations. It's stopped everybody in your family for generations from doing things.
Yeah, it's all, most of it is subconscious. As we know, over 95% of our behavior is driven by our subconscious programming. And that's really important to recognize and to realize and to play with, right? So yes, it's about mindset, but it's also about the subconscious part of the mind. And as I like to say, my work also about heart set. So when we really combine the two, that's when the magic happens. So that's fantastic, Liz. And I know there's so much more. We could go on all day. So all week practically, because we both understand this topic, and that's why it's so fantastic to talk about it. So Liz, tell us now though, where can people find you, apart from your LinkedIn profile, of course. So what's your website? Where can they find publications, whatever you would like to share?
So finding me is dead easy. It's lizbull.com. Ta-da. Mm-hmm. So find me there. If you want to talk to me, it's speaktoliz.com. So that's easy. And my books can be found on Amazon. Amazon. You can hunt for me there. There's my diet-free weight loss book is on Amazon.
Mm-hmm. Okay, awesome. Yeah, show it to our viewers. Okay, great. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Liz. So that's been amazing. So now it's my turn to quickly share my spark toward the end. So as a multicultural transformation leadership coach with a very strong focus on career advancement and helping the women I work with open up new possibilities. I help mid-tier women employees, especially in financial services and some other industries as well, sometimes achieve their next career goal so they can fulfill their potential and increase their income, influence, and impact, because we all want to make a big impact, right? And get also recognized for it in all the different ways. Thanks again, Liz, and to everyone watching. We hope this show inspired you, as always, to follow your heart and your spark and to not leave it behind. Really look at what else needs to be expressed through you, even if it could be in your current job, it could be in a new undertaking, it could be as an entrepreneur, whatever your situation is. And please do like and comment. We'd love to hear from you, read from you, and see you next Tuesday at the same time, 10 a.m. Eastern, when I'll be chatting with Ronnie Wimel. All right.
Thank you so much.
And make it a beautiful day, everybody. And thank you, Liz.
Thank you.